Back to the sunny south of France and Circuit Paul Ricard. Race 3 of the weekend, the final race of the event for the F4 Spanish Championship for 2025. As you can see, the mountains in the background, the wind is blowing brightly, and the heat haze is certainly getting up there. Temperatures almost getting to 30 degrees down there. It is perfect summer weather conditions for motorsport. And we're going to close off our weekend at Paul Ricard in F4 and Euro Cup 3. We just had the final Euro Cup 3 race of the weekend. Now we're getting set for Spanish F4. So, Scott Woodward's here to guide you through all the action. Once again, down the grid, and roving reporter Alex Garcia, who's getting all the stories from the event. As you can see, 30.4 degrees is reading on the temperature scale at the circuit. That's how hot it really is. And certainly these drivers will be welcome of a drink of water at least when they're finished. Now, for this third race of the weekend, it's an all Griffin Core front row and an all MP Motorsport second row. Jan Przewski, who is going to be hoping to get his first victory if he can from pole position. But Thomas Strauven is on that key second starting spot on the grid on the outside of row number 1. We've seen it time and time again throughout this weekend that the trend is that if you're starting on pole position, you don't typically get the best of starts, because Thomas Strauven on the inside, if you're on the inside where the racing line is and more rubber gets laid down, that's the traditional run down towards turn 1, because you move to the right hand side of the circuit, being for the Verrerie S-bend at the beginning of the lap. That's where the rubber gets laid down. So typically this weekend you want to be on where you can see to the camera is to the left of the track, the driver's right. So Thomas Strauven, René Lammers, Canthan, Costa and Schauffler in the top 10. They're all on the right-hand side of the circuit, driver's right at least, and they'll be bidding for a good start if they can get away pretty quickly. The grid is very quickly starting to work its way in the mix as the heat haze decides to continue to ripple around here at Circuit Paul Ricard. I think we can, for the last time, have a chat with our roving reporter, Alex Garcia. And Alex, what a weekend it's been so far already. If you conclude Euro Cup 3, we've had 3 brand new race winners of the 5 races we've had so far. We now go into race number 6 of the weekend, our third for Spanish F4. And I think there's every chance, given the fact we've got Przewski, Eichmanns and co in the mix, they could even make it 4 from 6. This could be a pretty unpredictable race. However, Strauven again, he's on that outside the front row of the grid where the grip is technically better. If he gets the whole shot down towards turn 1, it could be game over.
Exactly. I think, Scott, that Strauven has that good possibility, good chance to get on the first place before the first corner. That has been the usual story. I think in 4 of the 5 races this weekend, we have seen that story. The only one who was able to keep that first place was Gareth Berry in that sprint race for Euro Cup 3. But otherwise, the pole sitter has never kept that first place into the first corner. So we know that it is not the ideal place to start from. But we also know that, of course, this is the last race. Not all drivers will necessarily have the same amount of life left in their tires. They have been managing the tires for all the weekend, so it all comes down to that as well, because if Jan Przewski has enough life on his tires to have a little bit more traction on those first meters, that could be the deciding factor. On that note, I can tell you that at least the 2 first drivers on the grid are using new tires on the left side, while they have more used tires on the right side. As for Ian Eggmans, from our position, it looked like the 4 tires were new, but again, we're a little bit further away from the third place driver, so we will have to trust what we see on the track to make a decision on that. But definitely one point to keep an eye on.
So what do we think then, given the fact that potentially Eichmanns could be on brand new tyres all round, and given the run we've had so far? Strauven on that ideal spot on the front row of the grid, not on pole position ironically. Do you think he can get the whole shot down towards turn 1, or maybe with new tyres if he is on a brand new set all round, he's kept them back for race 3? Is Eichmanns the dark horse here? Could he potentially finally get that first victory? He's been second 6 times already this season. Can this time finally be the race that he gets the victory?
I think he can be on the sheer note of let's say, numbers, because as you have said, he's been on the podium so many times. It seems that the win is always close, but never quite there. He has been feeling very, very competitive this weekend here in Paul Ricard. Of course, when you are fighting with Jan Przewski and Thomas Strauven, things are not exactly as easy, especially because the championship leader will be starting from what we consider to be the best starting position on the grid this weekend. So my expectation is that Strauven is still the favorite, but yes, I would definitely agree that Eggmans should be a dark horse. So we might have a Belgian duel for the win today.
We had it in race 1 yesterday. It could happen again today. Gracias, mi amigo. Que te vaya bien. We will see you later on in the pit lane or at the end of the race, unless we need you later on. So, the cars off on their formation lap for the final time this weekend. Race number 3 of the event for the F4 Spanish Championship. Let's take you through the grid order here for race number 3. It is Jan Brzozowski on pole position with the championship leader Thomas Strauben alongside him on the front row. Starting on that inside of row number 1. Is he going to get the better traction and beat his teammate down towards the first corner? Ian Eichmans, who has finished second now, I think, twice in the first couple of races, looking at how many starts he's had. He has had so far, if we include the result from race 2, he was second in race number 2. He's had now 5 second places, I'll correct myself. He's now looking to try and finally get that first victory and possibly our 4th different race winner from the 6 races, combining Euro Cup 3 in the results as well. René Lammers and Renaud Franco will line up on the second and third rows respectively, because Lammers is there on row 2 compared to row 3. And he'll have the Vivek Kanthan, the American driver alongside him on the third row of the grid. But it's Noah Montero, who retired from race 2 after he had some issues on the opening lap. He will start from the 7th starting spot alongside his Campos Racing teammate Miguel Costa. Then we have Nathan Tighe, race 2 winner, brand new in the championship, and Nicolas Schaufler next in the top 10. And we'll rattle through the rest of the grid as they're already coming round to form up for the start. So row 6 is where we have Hudson Schwartz and Christopher El Fagali, then Andrei Petrovic and Juan Cota on row 7. Row 8 is Gino Trapper, who retired after he had an incident and lost part of his suspension and drive shaft at the runoff area at the chicane. He's alongside Santino Peretta. Then we have Matthias Rieber and Alfio Spina, fresh off a top 10 finish. Filippo Fiorentino, Alexander Jacobi, then Sasha Van Pan Bosch, Santiago Batstarika, Nacho Tunion, Kyuho Lee, Francisco Monarca, followed by Kaiden Higgins, Emma Felbermeyer, Lorenzo Campos, Alexander Bogunovic, Viktor Dobzhansky, Stepan Suslov, Daniel Delakian, and Ricardo Baptista starting at the back of the field of our mammoth 33-car grid, full of diversity, full of nationalities from all over the world. It is one of the most diverse junior single-seater grids, I'm certain, at least in Europe, if not out there in the F4 sphere. So, Jan Brzozowski starting on pole position. I remind you that so far this season, in terms of race victory, well, he has had 3 victories, so he will only make it number 4. But the one to watch for could be from the second row of the grid, Ian Eichmans, who is bidding for his first. And for Thomas Strauben, he wants his 6th race win. The 5 red lights are up, and race 3 for Spanish F4 is go. And it's a cracking start for Eichmans, who tries to get himself between Brzozowski and Strauben on the run down towards turn 1. Gets boxed out, I think. Now as they head down towards the first corner, Eichmans is looking to the outside line, but it will be with the whole shot. Brzozowski, who turns in front. But he was side by side by the look of it with Thomas Strauben in towards the S-bend for the first time. No, Strauben's back to 3rd position. And here comes Eichmann to the inside line, defending, going one way then the other. And also now Strauben's in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich. He's got behind him, looks like Franco and Lammers, who are putting him under pressure. And there goes Eichmans to the lead, in towards the Ranch Hotel. He's done it. So we're on what looks like brand new tyres. Ian Eichmans yet again goes to the lead in Spanish F4 as the rest of the pack goes pouring through, out of Virage du Camp, out of the left-hand kink of St. Baume, and then onto the Mistral Straight. And as usual, they're going to go to the inside and try and break that toe. One way, then the other. There's a few of them all together. The 2 Red Bull cars in the background are going side by side. That looks like that is El Fagali and possibly, who's he battling with it? That's Nicolas Schaufler behind him as well, side by side. Into the chicane for the first time. And it's Strauben in 2nd place, in fact. So there has been a change. So where's Brzozowski got to? 6th. So a poor start again from the pole sitter, down to 6th position and battling with Vivek Kanthan for Campos Racing. They're side by side on the approach towards Senior. More side by side action behind and side by side for the lead. Here comes Strauben to the lead into the inside at Senior, but Eichmans won't give it up. The 2 Belgians wheel to wheel. Eichmans over the curb in towards De Bose, and he looks round the outside again. He's on those fresher tyres. Can he make it stick? They're still wheel to wheel. He runs out a little deep. That opens the door for Renaud Franco in 3rd place. An excellent start from Renault. The KCL MP Motorsport driver, Renaud Franco, who is 5th in the championship coming into today after yesterday's 7th place finish. But Thomas Strauben, championship leader, is into the lead of the race and looking for his 6th victory of the season. Ian Eichmans just wants a first win in his championship career. Now, the inside goes René Lammers for his teammates. They almost lock wheels. Just at the inside of well, he's satellite teammate because it's the KCL MP Motorsport car alongside of Renaud Franco. But the field pours its way out of Virage du Pont and as quick as you like, in a flash, Strauben, Eichmans, Franco, Lammers, Montero's up to 5th and side by side between the 2 MP Motorsport drivers. That was Lammers trying to get past, but had found very aggressive defence from Franco, and that's now put Lammers onto the front wing of Noah Montero. Much better start to the race for Noah this time, but I didn't even make it past lap 1. He brought out a very early safety car. Now he's attacking down the inside and takes 4th place from René Lammers. So the two sons of former F1 drivers. One gets past the other, and also that's Jan Brzozowski fighting back round the outside. So Lammers loses 2. Was there a little tangle there? They might have just touched wheels. And Lammers is out of sorts because now Vivek Canthan goes round the outside in another of the Campos cars. So a bit of a shaky couple of corners there from Lammers. He tried to get past his teammate. Franco firmly closed the door. Then he loses out to Montero and Brzozowski, and now he's under threat from Nathan Ty, who got past Schaufler. Lots of weaving around, charging to take positions down towards the chicane for the second time. Still, Strauven, Eichmann, side by side, is now Brett Lammers having to go very defensive. He's not comfortable. He's off pace at the moment. Ty stacking up behind him. Schaufler's behind in the first of those 2 Campos Red Bull cars. Well, in fact, Schaufler's car is KCLMP, I'll correct myself. Wankota is in 9th place, and Petrovic is up to 10th as well. Into senior for the second time. And Eichmanns is not done with Strauven here. Back on the tail of him into De Bose for the second time. Strauven just taking a moment here to hold his line and settle into the rhythm. And usually when Strauven gets into a rhythm, it's very hard to beat. But if Eichmann is on new tyres like we suspect, that might work pretty well come the close of this race. It's a 30-minute race plus 1 lap. Of course, with 30-minute races, you get full points. So unlike race 2 earlier on, where it was 25 minutes, and you essentially knock off a set of points, you essentially don't get 25 points, you get 18 for a win in a race 2, where you've got a shorter 25-minute race. It's 30 minutes this time, so you're back to 25 points. Lots of skirmishing going on in the bottom end of the top 10. And a couple of the cars running wide, but Strauven leads the way. Now there's a breakaway 5 here at the front of the field. It's Strauven, Eichmanns, Franco, Montero and Brzozowski. And then everyone behind wants to be 6th place downwards. Lots of skirmishing. Nathan Ty's in the mix there. He's now battling with Wankota, who's made up a couple more places. Where did Wan start this race? He started in 14th. So Wankota charging his way up the order. In 2 laps, he's made up 7 places. So lots of progress from the Spaniard. Again, turn their way through Virage. And into St. Bone. And back onto the back straight again. And we're going to watch the Mistral straight wiggle, shall we call it? Or not quite. Looks as though that the front 5 are happy to take a tow from the cars in front. Now I think towards it, we're going to see them move from side to side. There's 3 abreast. There's more battles going on here trying to work out who's who. This is side-by-side stuff. Look at this. I think this is Canthan, Schwartz and Petrovic. And behind Trapper and Fagali going at it as well. 5 of them for position down into the complex. Who gets in front? Who's going to get squeezed out wide? I think it's Schwartz that gets through. Schwartz got it. Petrovic also drops back. Canthan's being swamped by cars around him. Hugo Schwartz is in there too. I think also Trapper's in there in 13th place. They are all over each other. It's 3 abreast. Look at in the background between them 4. That's about 10th position. Sort that one out in a moment. There's René Lammers back to 9th. And he started a bit higher up the order. He got a great start and was up as high as 4th at one point. Now he's down towards the base of the top 10. And that all started when he was battling his teammate Renault Franco. Down the pit straight, Franco really threw the block hard to the edge of the circuit. And because of that, he lost his momentum. And that rest of a lap up to the chicane, he was off pace. He was off balance in a way and just had to try and find his rhythm again. And try and get himself in the mix. So, 4.5 tenths is the lead between Strauven and Eichmanns. They go through. Franco in 3rd place. This is the battle watching here between Kota, Ty and Lammers for 7th, 8th and 9th. Back down the pit straight they come. Look at that. Locked in onto the rear wings. Brzozowski is Montero battling Brzozowski. He might have a chance to steal 4th place from the Polish driver. And looking at Noah's results so far this year. Noah came into today in, where is he? 7th in the championship. His best result to date has been 4th, and that was at the 2nd race at Aragon. So if he can improve, he can at least equal his best result. The only thing then is once he gets past to start challenging René Franco, who's just ahead of them in 3rd place in the orange MP Motorsport car. Brzozowski still in 4th. For Griffin Court, he's got his Polish sponsors on the side, adding a little red accent to his white and blue Griffin Court by Campos machine. One car running out deep. and off the road, and it couldn't quite tell who that was. I might just see who goes tumbling down the timing screen. Thankfully, our timing screen is pretty active, so you can see who's going down the screen pretty quickly. Might have been who's going down the order. Maybe Alexander Jacobi, possibly, because he's down in 26th position. I'll try and figure it out if they do go further down the timing screen. Leaders out of the chicane now. On lap 5. So much action, and we barely got to 1/3 distance. We've still got 2 and a bit minutes to go before we hit that. Heat haze rippling up, some 30 degrees out there at Paul Ricard. The track temperature is going to be higher than that, and that will be absolute torture for the tyres. But it's whoever can be the tyre whisperer, so to speak, look after them. And if Eichmann's is running a better set of tyres, a full set of tyres, a fresh set of tyres on that number 4 MP Motorsport car, that will certainly put him in good stead, particularly towards the end of the race. He just can't tear them up lots, chasing in Strauven's turbulent air in front. They don't produce much aero, these Formula 4 cars, but they do produce enough to make a difference compared to a single seat like a Formula 4. There's up the inside, looks for 3rd position. Brzezowski sends Franco the dummy, dives up the inside, and the Dutchman has to run wide over the curb. Brzezowski into 3rd position, maybe, because here comes Franco back at the response. Now he gets a face full of Griffin core rear wing in front of him as Brzezowski gives him his own treatment, throws to the inside line, but Franco won't take it. He looks to the outside in towards Verrerie. He's offline, and that will now give Noah Montero the chance to close in. He's right on him now on the exit on the run towards Virage de l'Hotel. And he's now over the curb. You've got to be careful because we've seen cars already rumble over those curbs and even tear off a front wing. So you've really got to be careful running over those curbs in a straight line. Through Virage du Comp, right at the top of the circuit. And then they'll start the run again down the 2-part Mistral straight, broken up by that chicane. It's exactly the same layout that they've used in Formula 1 in recent years. Lots of scrapping in the background. You can see lots of cars dicing amongst each other deeper in the field. Everyone just starting to calm down a little bit now. Very frantic first couple of laps. Just starting to get into a rhythm now with the first few runners. Montero in 5th position. Chasing after Rene Franco. I thought it might have just been the dynamics of the chassis, but I thought for a second that Franco's front wing was just sitting offset a little bit, just dipping down on driver's right. But it might just be how the dynamics of the car was just leaning the car from one side to another. Fastest lap of the race so far has gone to Jan Brzezowski, 2:07.988, a fraction faster than Ian Eichmann's, who was quicker than Strauven as well. So still half a second between the top 2, and I wonder, Eichmann's could bide his time here, save his tyres, keep Strauven in touch, because Strauven's not getting away with this, and Eichmann might well have fresher tyres than Strauven does, so if he does, that will be a real ace up his sleeve that he can use later in the race. If he can look after these tyres, keep a good pace, and stay in lockstep in Strauven's wheel tracks, he can certainly take full advantage of that. He's been fractionally faster in Sector 1, fractionally faster in Sector 2, and he'll edge closer for Sector 3. The gap might say 7/10, but it might just be that Strauven's just driven that car slightly better through Sector 3. Wide there, that was Gwencote's battle with Brzezowski. Around goes René Lammers. René Lammers with damage, I think, to his front wing. Now, somebody else was involved in that. It might be Petrovic, I wonder. He was the man closest to him. Brzezowski's coming to the pits as well. Something has happened to the 3-time winner and pole sitter. So it's kicked off a little bit in the final corner. And in the pit lane, someone also waiting for a front wing. I can't make up the number. It's one of the Monlau Motorsport cars that needs to come in for a new nose. Can't see the number on the nose. It's 91 that needs to come in. That is Campos, who was in 25th position. So they're waiting to put a new nose on that car. Way down the order. And again, that's his race going for a nosedive. That's the car that has Visit Angola on the front wing on top of that too. Race leaders down the Mistral straight, and Strauven's doing the back straight weave again, not to block, it's simply just to try and break the toe. Classic case in point. Here goes Franco defending from Montero up to 4th now. Montero hasn't had a podium in the championship just yet. You might get one if you can pull the pass off on Franco, but Rene is a fantastic defensive driver. He was putting that car as wide as anything. Really showed the manners on René Lammers earlier on. Now he's doing the same to Noah Montero. You might be the son of a Formula 1 driver, but I ain't laying down for anybody. Again, defensive. There's one way than the other. You have to be careful not to do it too much and too obviously. Otherwise you can get a penalty. They're going side by side. Montero slots in. Can he think about a move into Debose? It's a pretty tough move if you try and make it. It's an ever kind of arcing corner. But slightly wider approach. He just tucks under the rear diffuser, the gearbox of the number 11 MP Motorsport car, the KCL MP Motorsport car. Top two are breaking away a little bit. This is now bringing this battle for third, fourth, and fifth. And actually, impressive run so far, fifth position for the Red Bull car in the mix. But that's not the Red Bull car that I was anticipating it would be. That is, in actual fact, Nicholas Schaufler, the Austrian driver. Good drive from him in the other KCL MP Motorsport car. So Franco does have an ally, that's an enemy, ally in Nicholas Schuler. And this battling is only letting the top two pull away here. The gap is just about a second between Strauben and Eichmann, so it's a Belgian 1-2. Franco making it a Benelux 1-2-3, being from the Netherlands. Then the Portuguese youngster Noah Monteiro fourth, Schaufler fifth, and it's Ty, Cota. Those two are together in sixth and seventh, just in the background of shot. Here they come. Nathan Ty, brand new race winner in Spanish F4, took the victory brilliantly in race 2. Rest of a top 10. A few more cars that are having some good results here. We've got Trapper in 8th position, Spina in 9th, and Vivek Kanthan in 10th. As the Monline Motorsport crew are signalling for their driver to come in and take a front wing. Now here's what happened to Rene Lammers. Let's see who he was battling with. And he gets a tangle from, that's the T-code car 77. And 77, I should know that off by heart, given I've done 3 races already this weekend. 77 is Andrei Petrovic. So I thought it might have been him. They were battling around sort of 9th and 10th. So Rene Lammers, his and Petrovic's race have taken quite a sharp nosedive in fortune. And Lammers has down to 27th place. As for Petrovic, he is not in the top 20, so he's had some issues, possibly even out of the race. Yeah, he's down in 32nd. Still running, but I don't think he's showing he's out of the race, actually. So him, both in Campos, look like they're out of it. Or at least on an outlap, I think. That orange signal might be an outlap rather than out of the race. Battle continues for third. Franco, Monteiro, and Schaufler, nose to tail, through Debose. Now through the Bondor left-hander, then Courbe de Galaban, that long arcing right-hander that takes them back towards the pits. Lead gap is a fraction over a second, and again, I wonder if Eichmann's, again, like we've seen in a couple of the Eurocup races today as well, and this weekend, whether Eichmann is just biding his time a little bit. We heard from Alex there are some teams that have gone on fresh tyres on one side, where it's possibly being used a little less, and more used tyres on the other side, where I think possibly even left-hand side tyres are fresher, right-hand side tyres are a little more worn, because it is a clockwise circuit. You are turning more times left than right. But we believe, potentially, that Eichmann's, as we talked about, is on a fresh set of tyres all round. 4 new tyres that he's saved up. And if that's his pace, given that he saved those tyres and then he's gone into this race with a brand new set, that's impressive tyre management, particularly in such warm conditions. You saw on the gantry that the temperature is 30 degrees out there at the moment. That is incredibly hot. Now, the track temperature will be even hotter as well, so these tyres are going to be pretty tortured. But it's those who can take care of them and be smooth and consistent and purposeful with their movements, not being erratic or flamboyant. That's the key thing to get the pace out of it. And usually what they say is, if it looks slow, it's usually quite fast. If it's sliding around and looking quite flamboyant and spectacular, that's where you're losing time. But nice and neat, nice and tidy, particularly in these hot conditions, is going to be absolutely key to ensure tyre life for the rest of this race. This fight for third is really brewing, isn't it? Between Franco, Monteiro, and Schaufler. It's 2 KCL MP Motorsport cars sandwiching a Campos racing machine. They're 3 abreast of position behind. Back, and that's one of the DriveX cars. I think that might well be Trapper going wheel to wheel with... Who was that? That was Trapper battling. He's gone down the order, I think, so maybe he came off worse from that. But Trapper's going down the order on the timing screen. He was 3 wide with a couple of cars. Maybe Schwartz and Tunion, I think. They were quite level. It was somewhere around the bottom of the top 10 or just outside it, but looks like an issue for Gino Trapper, the Argentinian. Seen him go tumbling down the order. So it looks like they possibly could have been something that happened down at the chicane. I don't know if our cameras might have caught it off broadcast, but we'll see what might happen here. Fight for third continues on. We're into the second half of the race now. Just under 13 minutes plus a lap. There is Nathan Ty, who's keeping his powder dry, as that was Schaufler attacking Monteiro for position into the final corner at Virage Dupont. Top two come across the line. Gap is out to 1.4 seconds, excuse me. And last time by Strauven was on a new fastest lap of the race, 207.6. And it had gone to Eichmann's briefly. He set second fastest lap of the race, 207.791. So the two of them are the fastest men out there by far. Everyone else is doing low to mid 2-minute 8s. Lock up there from Schaufler as you just a puff of smoke from the inside front tyre as he turned into Virage de l'Hotel. Now to Virage du Camp, right out at the top of the circuit. And back on to that long, high-speed Mistral straight. So first and second, unless Eichmann is really sitting back here and just conserving those tyres, Strauven with whatever tyre life he's got left on that number 99 Griffin core car seems to be working pretty well. This is the fight we need to watch for. It's now going to become possibly a 5-way scrap if things work out, because we've got Renault Franco, the KCL MP, Noah Montero for Campos, another KCL MP car, the Red Bull livery Niklas Schaufler. Then two drivers to watch in this group. Also at the back of that group is Nathan Tighe and Juan Cota. Now Cota, of course, started a little further back than others. He started back in 14th on the grid, up to 7th. And he might not be done here, because if he can close in on these three in front, maybe with the help of a bit of a tow from Nathan Tighe, it could be an opportunity. And Tighe is closer to the top of this battle of a third than Cota is to Tighe. So if Tighe gets involved in this, this will certainly help him out no end. Leaders out through Courbe de Galaban. And this quartet might become a quintet pretty soon, because Cota, looking at his last times on the sectors, he lost 2 tenths in the second sector, was pretty even with Tighe in the first one, and Tighe's been closing into the three cars in front by a couple of tenths on this lap, so he is getting himself into the mix, and that confidence will be emanating throughout him after his first win in the championship earlier on today in race 2. So using all of that, and usually they say, once the first win's there, once you know how to do it, it just unlocks a new level of your driving. So that's the case for Nathan, youngster from Sheffield, racing for Rodin Motorsport, their first win in the championship also. Chasing after the Red Bull Junior, Niklas Schaufler. Schaufler came into the weekend, came into today at least, sitting in 7th of the championship. I say this politely, hasn't been massively spectacular in terms of he's got on quietly with his job, got the points and just bagged some good results. 7th in points. His best result so far has been 3 4th places. So he's done quite well. 39 points he came into today before the second race. And now Linus Stern down the pack straight, and Nathan Tighe just tucked into the toe of Niklas Schaufler. He's not close enough, I think, to make a dive unless he goes from quite far back in the braking zone. Holds back for the moment. This kind of quartet in a bit of a stalemate here, and this will bring Juan Cota into play. Rest of the pack is fading a little bit backwards. We've got 2 cars very close. It's one of the MP Motorsport cars. I think that's possibly... Who was that going wheel to wheel? That was in the background. Maybe Schwartz and Tunyon, I'm going to guess, or Schwartz and Panetta, one of the two. There was a battle going towards the bottom of the top 10, or just outside it. Very close between them on the run towards the chicane. That's further behind this battle for third. The lead gap is now 1.7 seconds, so unless Eichmann is really conserving his tyres and waiting for a late charge, or he's torn them up a little too much, and the opening stage he's trying to keep with him, that's going to be crucial. Now, possible change on for 5th, because here comes Nathan Tighe. Good run off of the left-hander before Courbe de Galaban. Has a look up the inside, puts his nose into the Miro Schaufler, trying to distract him. But no move there. And can't get anything done at Virage du Pont. And they head onto the pit straight for another lap. 10 laps in the books. Lap 11 gets underway now. Here comes Tighe to the inside line. Gets the toe, pulls himself level. We get a side draft down towards Verrerie at the S-bend. And through he goes almost. Forces Schaufler to back out of it. And Nathan Tighe into the top 5. Now then, his next targets, if he can be quick enough, are going to be Noah Montero and Renault Franco. If he can pick them off, could be looking at another podium finish. Third place. I'm not quite sure he'll catch the top 2. They're away and gone by almost 5 seconds out in front. Well, at least Eichmann's is 5 seconds ahead of Franco. And a further 2 seconds ahead is Strauven. So there's a 7-second gap between first and third place right now. And it looks like, touch wood, unless something dramatic happens in this last quarter of the race, it's Strauven's to lose. It's all there. Montero now taking his turn to chase after Franco in the tow, down towards the chicane. But again, he's not close enough. He's close, but just not in the position to really get close enough to dart out and have a look, or even dive up the inside somewhere. We have seen outside passes. We saw Kasper Stucker take a first victory by diving down the outside in the last Euro Cup 3 race. More side-by-side action in the background, I can see. 2 more cars going wheel to wheel. That might well have been Schwartz and Panetta, I think, going at it. Or, no, it might have been Reba and Tugnon. One of the two. Comes Nathan Ty. So that's, no, forgive me, that's Montero. They're both white and black cars, so slightly tricky to, easy to get confused when you look at them at a glance. It's the white nose. Well, it's predominantly the white nose. They look very similar at the front, but the difference being is that you've got the red accent, the red piping around the kind of split between the black and white on the Campos car. Where it's quite obvious where it says Rodin. Gotta get that right. I've been told off for that once already. But it'll stick eventually. Now, Juan Cota has caught the back of Nicolas Schaufler for 6th position, so the Red Bull Junior might lose another spot if he's not careful to the rapid young Spaniard. And there he goes, defending to the inside line, squeezes into the edge. Oh, he moves across again a little bit. That might be a bit cheeky from Schaufler. And Cota might not fully appreciate that, but he's close, and he's putting the young Austrian under pressure. Let's see how much he can handle. Down towards Virage de l'Hotel. This big complex here with those huge runoff areas. Very grippy tarmac, and it's got a little bit of metal mixed into it. I was reading up on that runoff area, and that's what makes it a little more grippier. And then you've got the 2 different types. You've got the blue one, which is pretty grippy, and then you've got this super grippy red lines that will certainly stop you from spinning off anywhere, but at the same time, being so rough and so abrasive to try and stop you and slow you down, it will tear your tyres to pieces if you run too far. And of course, you're going to get pinged for track limits if you go that far out onto the circuit and gain an advantage. Speaking of gaining advantage, Juan Cota would quite like to gain 6th position from Nicolas Schaufler. And he thinks about it. He just started out and had a look. Locks up. And getting close. Good run through the chicane. This might give him a chance to attack towards Senior, if not to set up a move in towards Debose. And it's close between also Franco and Montero. Ty will be watching on here behind in 5th position. Here's a scrap for 3rd. Franco, Montero right on his gearbox. Nathan Ty watching on in 5th. He's again going to have a look. There's no room to get through on the inside here. He can set him up for another move. So it's looking close now for 3rd and for 6th. Schaufler runs out a little wide. Cota has a look up the inside. Thinks about it. But again, Schaufler holds his line. And there has to be a point, I'm certain, in these moves where Schaufler must realise, not that he's running a slow pace, not at all, but he might well have to realise that it's better if he lets him go and possibly let Juan drag him back towards the cars in front. If he keeps on fighting, looking up into Virage de la Tour before they turn around the final corner and onto the start of another lap. There is just over 4 minutes and change plus a lap to go in this race. The lead gap is now 2.2 seconds. Another new fastest lap of the race from Thomas Strauven. So I think possibly this could be the signs of game, set and match in this race. And Ian Eichmans will have to settle for 2nd place yet again. And looks like further behind them, Schaufler that wants to try and hold on to that 6th place with all he's got, because Juan Cota is trying to prise the door open and find a way through. There doesn't appear to be any room so far. Lock up from Schaufler. He's been forced into a mistake or two. And again, surely here, if Cota stays pretty close through Virage du Comte, through St. Bowman onto the Mistral Straight, there's a great chance here to draft him down the back straight. Likewise, I think also for this scrap for 3rd, 4th and 5th, because Ty's on the gearbox of Montero. Ty's going to get a double tow from the 2 cars in front. And here they come. Possible changes on for 3rd and for 6th position. Tow's not as strong in some cases as the Euro Cup 3 cars, but there's enough there to try and gain something. And towards the chicane. No change in order yet. But you sense it's close. You sense that it's close, that it might well happen in the last couple of laps. It's going to have to. Otherwise, you're looking at the race order to the flag, and it will be Renault Franco's podium finish. And Renault Franco has yet to take a podium finish. His best was 4th back at the sprint race in Portimao. And that's my screen to see. Was that something flying off one of these 3 cars, possibly? There was a bit of bodywork possibly coming off. I thought there might have been. Whether Montero got a little too close to the back of Renault Franco's car. Everything appears to be intact. Maybe he just ran over something, or it was something else that was caught in my vision. Either way, Montero is really applying the pressure here. Juan Cota is still giving Schaeffler a hard time. Quick note to the rest of the top 10. Canthan's still 8th. Spina 9th and Schwartz 10th. As the battle for 6th continues to wage between... Schaeffler's gone very deep. Where's he gone? You think he disappeared out of shot. And there's Schaeffler. He just went very deep into the Virage de la Tour. Into Virage DuPont, the final corner. Held on. Now it's side by side. Cota's on the outside now for 6th position. There goes 3rd, 4th, and 5th. But here comes battle for P6. Cota goes sweeping round the outside. He'll have the inside for the next part of the Verrerie. And doesn't take the place because Schaeffler is fighting with everything he's got. They're wheel to wheel again. They're almost touching wheels. But Schaeffler gets back in front. Now Cota says, right, I'll try again then. Down the outside into Virage de l'Hotel. Another lock up from Schaeffler. Again going to the outside. Again looking for the up and under. Brakes a little early, tries to turn in, there's contact. A little nudge of the rear gearbox from Cota on Schaeffler, getting a bit frustrated getting behind him, and he knows he's running out of time. He's onto the penultimate lap of the race, and these 3 are running out of time as well, because you've got Franco, Montero and Tai. They're going to battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th, and they're going to the inside, and look who's also catching in the fight for 6th, because we've now got Vivek Canthan, the American, for Campos Racing. He's in the fight too. Campos looks down the outside. Again, defensive drive from Schaeffler. He is making that Red Bull car the widest F4 chassis in the venue. And it's frustrating Cota no end. The battle for 3rd is practically together now, all locked together, and now it's side by side for 6th. When you look for action, the trio for 3rd place go through the shots, side by side for 6th. Round the outside looks Juan Cota. Schaeffler again stands his ground. And he's just about lost out, I think, into the braking for Debose. Looks back up the inside and squeezes his way through. Schaeffler is absolutely steadfast in his defence. Takes the outside line. He will not let Juan Cota through. Cota getting ever frustrated trying to get past Schaeffler, who is making that car as defensive as anything. Shows him the edge of the road. You will not pass me for 6th position. And here comes Vivek Canthan now for 7th place. This is a great fight. Unlike the battle for 3rd, it hasn't quite kicked off yet. It might well do on this last lap. It has got all action stations for the battle for 6th. Schaeffler wants P6. Cota wants it even more. And Vivek Canthan could stand to inherit it if he gets a good run here. So, on to a last lap. The gap is now 3.3 seconds out in front between Strauben and Eichmanns. So, it looks like Strauben is on his way to pick up his, looks like, 6th victory of the season. And so I have to look at the winter standings rather than anything else. So Franco has had a podium. He's finished 3rd. A look up from from Schaeffler. So I'll correct myself. Franco has had a podium finish. He was 3rd in the first race at Portimao. Cota has had a 3rd place in the 3rd race at Portimao. And Nathan Tai, of course, had just come off the back of his first victory. So Montero, he's got to get closer because Tai might be out of it here. Montero trying to lock in him a slipstream, but it's not powerful enough at this point into the straight to put him into any position to make a move. I think possibly either the toe is strong enough or Montero's left this attack way too late. Unless you can find some way through on the approach to Signe or to Bose or make a last gasp dive up the inside. It's very much a deadlock between these 2 trios. Into Signe, and again Montero's attacking. He's looking up the inside. He was again right under the rear wing of Franco looking for 3rd. Likewise for 6th, it's still Schaeffler, Cota and Canthan for position. Into Debose for the final time. Oh no, it might one more lap in fact actually, because yeah, we're going to get one more lap because of course the time it hits 0 we have to go back through again, so we'll wait and see. As through the right-hander goes René Franco. So yeah, one more time around the Paul Ricard circuit. And for Thomas Strauven, 4 seconds out in front now between himself and Ian Eitmans. And Eitmans was thinking, what have I got to do to win a race in Spanish F4? It'll be another second place for him. He'll be slightly frustrated, but again, it's all really solid points for the championship. He can't complain about that. He's had second place. It'll be his 6th second place of the season. And it keeps him firmly best of the rest compared to the other, because his main rivals have had a bit of a tough race. René Lammers, in fact, I think, is back down in, where's he? Not 18th after his tangle with Petrovic. And up the inside now, that's Canthan. So there's been a change for position. So Kosa's got past Schaufler. Now the inside now for what will be 7th place goes Vivian Canthan. And Schaufler's defence is finally broken. So makes the move stick, and through he goes. Now then, that's the move done for 6th. What about for 3rd, 4th and 5th? It is Franco's to lose. Montero's getting close, and he's forcing, for the first time in a while, Franco to weave this way and that. The tie's not really in the mix to help him get a toe. This is that battle going on behind. That's Koza now in front of Canthan and Schaufler. So change around for 6th, but they still haven't changed for 3rd place. And if Montero wants a podium, he is running out of time, running out of corners, running out of options. 3 senior. 3rd, 4th and 5th together. Nathan Tye still there in the top 5 places. Koza now looks pretty more secure in 6th place, but Canthan will push him all the way. There's nothing else really that Schaufler can do. Meanwhile, back at the front, in a casual Sunday drive, in what's proven to be another dominant run for the young Belgian, Thomas Strauven might have had his win streak broken from when it started at Portugal. It might not be 3 out of 3, but it's still another victory in the season, his 6th of the year, and it will certainly put him in another key position in the championship. He weaves with delight, and rightfully so. Thomas Strauven makes it 2 from 3 and 6 for the season so far in F4 Spanish Championship. He wins race 3 at Paul Ricard by 4.5 seconds in the end from Ian Eitmans, who again takes 2nd place, his 6th second place of the season. When will that first victory finally come? It's now nose to tail for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Renault Franco takes his 2nd podium of the season, followed by Montero and Nathan Tye. And the sprint to the flag for 6th sees Juan Cota make that move on the final lap of the race from Vivek Canthan and Nicolas Schaufler, who defended for his life for most of that race, but had to succumb to the rapid young Spaniard. And 2 impressive top 10s as well for 9th position for Alfio Espina, the Italian. That's his... It's another top 10 for him, and 10th place also went to Hugo Schwartz in car number 1. So Hudson Schwartz, forgive me, not Hugo Schwartz. It's a different driver of that name, forgive me. Top 10 for him. And the rest of the order, Matis Rieber 11th, Panetta 12th, Tunion 13th, Kyuho Lee was 14th. And one driver that was flying on the last lap, but didn't, I think, get the fastest lap of the race after losing time in the final sector, was Chris Elfagali. He was 24th, but he set fastest 1st and 2nd sectors. First sector was a 34.2. That was rapid. So incredible stuff from him. Rest of the order behind Kyuho Lee, Fiorentino 30th, Alexander Jacobi 16th. That's a good recovery from him after he had retired from race 1. René Lammers, though, 17th and out of the points after he tangled with Andrei Petrovic. So problems for him. He'll have to come back next time by after the break and go again. 18th for Sacha Van't Pad Bosch. Monarca 19th. Emma Filbermeyer was rounding off the top 20. Bogonovic 20th. It's then 21st for Kai Higgins. Then Baz Tariqa, El Fagali, Dobzhansky, Baptista, Costa, Trapper, and Petrovic, followed by Suslov and Campos. And the cars we lost in that race are the Armenian driver, Daniel Dalakian, and a crucial one of the championship, Jan Przowski, with a non-finish. The man who came into the weekend, or into today, in fact, with a double pole position from qualifying and 2nd ever championship. And, of course, René Lammers didn't do great either. That's actually a massive boost, in particular, for Ian Eitmans. So he can take the comfort in the fact he's taken a really big step to potentially, I think, even take 2nd in the championship with those results. So, of course, we'll get Alex, I'm sure, will confirm it in some way. So the cars make their way into pit lane for the last time this weekend. I have to say, what a weekend it's been for not just Spanish F4, but for Euro Cup 3. Some excellent racing, 3 brand new winners. But in many ways, there's one constant that stays the same in this championship, and that is Thomas Strauven on the podium in F4 Spanish Championship. Because he did it in race 2 after you couldn't win, he still got a 3rd place. And for the 6th time this year, Thomas Strauven is a race winner. And into, that's car number 2 pulling in, which is Vivek Kanthan. And into the 2nd place spot once again. I think he has been 2nd in all 3 races, Ian Eichmans. It's still good points. It's still a trophy for him. And he should be at least quite pleased with that. It's something that he'll look back on and think, maybe that's a good result towards the end. There's the applause. The first time this season for the race winner, the championship leader. He still is the man that everyone has to try and beat. They can beat him. It's just that this man's done it more than anyone else. For the 6th time in Spanish F4 in 2025, race 3 victor, Thomas Strauven of Belgium. The championship leader does it again in race number 3 at Paul Ricard. And immediately over to his team. The Griffin Corbe Campos squad gets the hugs, all smiles. And again, another excellent result. 25 big championship points that again takes him another step closer, even after 4 rounds now towards the title. Of course, the championship goes back onto home ground when we go back for the last 3 events in Spain to Jerez, then to the Circuito Ricardo Tormo in Cheste in Valencia, and then it's the Circuito de Barcelona Catalunya in Montmeló to round off the year. 3 more popular Spanish venues to conclude the championship. But of course, we have a bit of a summer break now for the championship. It's now 3 months until we get racing back underway. It's 20th to the 21st of September until we go to Jerez. Handshakes all round for Thomas Strauven. Smile as wide as anything. Gets the hug, I think, from his family members as well. Very proud of him. So they should be. And the Belgians, I'm sure, will be celebrating that one too for the rest of the weekend after a great effort. Well, and also, of course, to Ian Eichmans, again, another 2nd place. 3 2nd places for the weekend. And Renaud Franco as well. An excellent 3rd place. His 2nd podium of the season. That equals his best from 3rd in Portimao last time out at race 1. And it will help him in the championship, of course, on a race when both Jan Brzozowski and Rania Lammers failed to score. So I think that will give him some good results to think about and ponder over the next 3 months, I'm certain. I'm sure many of these drivers will keep themselves busy, either on or off track in that break. But it's been such a great first half of the season, particularly, of course, championship leader Thomas Strauven. And the fact that he will then go into the weekend with such a big lead is going to be incredible. So let's see how he felt about that. A 6th win of the season for Thomas Strauven, championship leader. He's down with Alex in Parc Ferme.
Thomas, you're running out of fingers to show the number of wins. Now you have to use 2 hands. I think you're getting bored of me. 6th win of the season. Not too bad weekend after all.
No, I think in overall we did a really good job throughout the weekend. With putting, we didn't manage to put a pole position, but in the 2nd quali was really close by putting a pole. But I think mega starts overall. I think just a bit a shame from race 2 where we finished P3. But still, a podium and now another win. I think we worked hard for this and we did a really, really good job.
So you're in the position where saying you did P3 in race 2 is a bit of a shame. That must be very, very good feelings for the summer break.
Well, I think we just could do better in race 2. But I think for summer breaks now, I just relax a bit and enjoy the summer breaks, and then let's focus again for Jerez.
All right, Thomas, congratulations again. Enjoy the win.
Thank you so much.
As we mentioned before in some of the races of the Formula 4 Spanish Championship, as cool as a cucumber. This is the new generation of drivers, and this is probably the style that is going to run ahead and win races and win championships. Those who can keep their heads cool, those who can think things through in the races and can make the most of every opportunity. This one, Thomas Strauven, clear championship leader in the Formula 4 Spanish Championship, and again, 6-time winner so far in this season. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby indeed. And of course, now the big question everyone's going to have on their minds, of course, Alex, is how do you stop him? Yes, you can beat him in the race. He's been beaten 5 times this season, but 6 wins. And even coming into today, he had a lead of nearly 70 points. So Sainz going to have to carry that into the summer break. Of course, next time out, of course, at Catalonia, you'll have, I'm sure, your regular voice of the dulcet tones of Mr. Jake Sanson, your friend of mine. I guess the big question is going to be, Alex, what are you going to do for 3 months? Of course, there's a lot of big break now between the next rounds at Jerez. It's going to be quite a way for the drivers to have to kind of get themselves relaxed and psyched up, because once the summer break's over, it's straight back into the final 3 rounds of the season. But between now and September, how are you guys going to keep yourself occupied with no racing at all for 3 months?
Oh, I'm sure they'll find their ways to keep themselves occupied. I think they'll be visiting the simulator often enough. I'm sure there will be some cars, and specifically with drivers who are doing so well, such as Thomas. I'm sure there will be maybe a cheeky opportunity or two to get into a bigger car to, just prepare the following season, because we know that he has to go up no matter what happens, because losing this championship now, let's not say it's impossible, because nothing is impossible in motorsport, but it does seem very unlikely. So I'm sure he will find some toys to entertain himself with in the summer.
I think the key thing is they've got 3 months to prepare for the next round at Jerez. If no one's properly prepared, there's no excuse. You can't be not prepared after 3 months, which would be pretty extraordinary. What a weekend it's been. Once again, Alex, my massive thanks. Gracias, mi amigo, and thanks for all the work you've done in pit lane once again. I'm sure that you and Jake and Co will have some fun for the next time out for Spanish F4 in September. Of course, you'll have between them, of course, the couple of rounds for Euro Cup 3. But again, thanks for your efforts across the entire weekend, and go and get some shade, of course, on the drinks. I think you've certainly earned it after this weekend. It's been quite a tough weekend for various reasons for our production team, but they've all soldiered through and managed to put on a fantastic broadcast in all 6 races around the season. So, here's some brief highlights from race number 3 whilst we get ready for our podium ceremony, our final podium ceremony of the weekend. And again, lots of action, as you'd expect, up and down the order in Spanish F4. Those frantic first opening laps when lots of positions changed hands. Then the race started to settle down into a rhythm. Ian Eichmann's had that initial advantage, got the better start and picked his way through into the lead. Once he got there, he was hoping to stay there with fresher tyres. But the man at the front of the championship, Thomas Strauven, found the way. Had some great 3-wide action here. Look at that. It was Hudson Schwartz battling away with Petrovic and car number 2, which was... I should know that looking at some of the numbers, but you might be further down the order. It was actually, in fact, number 2 was... I'll figure it out later. I'm trying to figure out the numbers. But towards the end, the big battles were for position for 3rd and for 6th place. And it was the number 11 car of Rene Franco holding back the attacks from both Noah Montero and Nathan Tite. But you still cannot stop this man from winning. A 6th win of the season for the championship leader, Thomas Strauven. He now enjoys a 3-month break as points leader, going to the final 3 events of the year, starting at Valencia in September, then Jerez in September, then Valencia in October, and the finale in Barcelona. And who knows, by the time we get to Barcelona, he could have even done enough to put it out of reach of everybody else. Thomas Strauven, the man they still all have to beat. 6th win of the season, and certainly now going to the second half of the year, the overwhelming championship favourite. So, for the final time, the drivers will prepare to gather onto the podium for their trophy presentations. And I'm sure now the weekend is over for the entire event, given that we've had 3 races for Euro Cup 3 and Spanish F4. It's sure that the drivers will be welcome of a cool drink. Maybe not what's in the bottles that they're shaking, but at least a cool drink of water. They'll be cooling off in the shade of the driver's room prior to heading out onto the podium, back into the heat of the south of France. Temperature really hasn't dipped much below 30 degrees all day, which has been phenomenal. So kudos to everyone out there, marshals, officials, drivers, teams, mechanics, everyone that's been involved to try to keep as cool as possible. Up to the top, onto the team representative podium has gone a member from the Griffin Corps Campos squad. So they will get the team's trophy for this race. 3rd place goes to Renault Franco, the Dutchman, for KCL MP Motorsport. A 2nd podium of the season for him. That matches his best result from Portimao in race 1 last time out. And prior to that, his best result had been a pair of 4th places in 2 of the races in Navarra. 2nd place, once again this weekend, but still really good solid points. It's his 6th 2nd place of the year. That first win will certainly come for Ian Eichmann's, but not quite here at Paul Ricard. He'll have to wait 3 months to have another shot at it in Jerez. But once again, for the 6th time this season, the man they're all chasing in the championship will extend his lead even further It is the one and only Thomas Strauben for Griffin Court by Campos. He walks his way to the top step, handshakes with Ian Eichmanns and with Rene Franco. And once again, for the first time this weekend, he'll remove his hat as we observe the national anthem of the winning driver from Belgium. The Belgian national anthem rings out around Circuit Paul Ricard as the drivers stand atop the podium, with the honker caps keeping their faces cool and covered. And the first trophy is presented to the representative of the winning team, another one for the Griffin Court collection. And certainly happy with that one. You can hear the applause in the background as the team watch on very proudly for that result. Next we come to our trophy for third place for the Dutchman Rene Franco. His second podium of the season, a key result for him for KCL MP Motorsport. He'll be pleased with that. Ian Eichmanns come now for second place. Yes, it's not a winner's trophy, but it's still a very solid second place. That first win will come. It's a matter of when rather than if, I'm sure, but second place still good for him. And he'll take that home for another good result over the summer break. Yet again, for the sixth time, the winner's trophy in F4 Spanish Championship in 2025 goes to the man on the top step of the podium from Belgium for Griffin Court, Thomas Strauben, the runaway championship leader. And certainly, he is given the one that everyone still has to chase. As Alex said, it seems inconceivable on the surface that he'll be in a position to lose the championship, but he'll have to have a really disastrous second part of the season for that to happen. Hopefully no commentator's curse, but touch wood, everything will keep well for the Belgian. Certainly a star to watch out for, and potentially I'm certain if he does succeed this year, certainly I'm sure at least Euro Cup 3 is in his future for 2026. Well, we're off on a break for 3 months now. What do we do in that time? I'm sure the drivers will keep themselves busy as they spray the fizz on the champagne on the podium. Your regular voice, Jake Sanson, will be back for the next round. I just want to say a personal thank you to everyone as part of F4 Spanish Championship and Euro Cup 3 for 6 barnstorming races. Brilliant weekend, all event at Paul Ricard. There's some challenges in the background, but they've worked with it with aplomb. If there has been issues, it's been absolutely seamless as far as I can see. So well done to everyone involved. Thanks to everyone who's been involved in the weekend in both championships, to all the officials, marshals, teams, drivers, everyone, including the production crew and everyone who promotes the championship. For myself, Scott Woodwis, thank you for having me as the voice for this weekend at Paul Ricard. For myself and Alex Garcia and everyone here at Paul Ricard, thanks for watching. Catch us next time for Spanish F4 in 3 months' time when we head to the first of 3 circuits to round off the second half of the season. Until then, we will catch you in Jerez in September. Bye for now.